Chair Coyne, we are ready to go.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Commission for Independent Education, and I am Mildred Coyne, Chair of the Commission. We are meeting virtually via Zoom. Today is January 27, 2023. Ms. Hood, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Coyne.
Present. We can barely hear you.
Commissioner Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Present.
Commissioner Cross.
Present.
Commissioner Taylor Ellis.
Present.
Commissioner Marty. And Commissioner Stefano.
Present.
Thank you. It's now time for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Cross.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. This meeting has two viewing options as follows. Please use this option one if you only wish to view the meeting. Navigate to the Commission's agenda information page and click on the webcast link available for the desired day. Today's agenda addresses non-degree granting institutions. These links will direct you to a live video feed of the meeting that will be used for viewing purposes only. This option does not allow anyone to communicate with the Commission or staff. Please use option 2 if you will need to communicate with the Commission during today's meeting, including institutions on the agenda. Navigate to the webcast links referenced a moment ago and locate the Zoom webinar registration link under the video link. There is a separate registration link for each day. You must register separately for each day. This link will send a confirmation email that contains additional instruction on how to proceed with viewing the meeting. When registering, please note the following. A separate registration is required for each user as shared logins are not permitted. When registering, please enter your school name as it appears on the agenda in the designated organization box. This will assist with identifying schools during the meeting. The confirmation email contains instructions for dialing into the webinar for users desiring to call in. If your school is called, please raise your digital hand and unmute yourself. During the meeting, please ensure your device remains muted unless you are speaking with the Commission. It is recommended that only one device be in the same room at one time. If multiple devices are nearby, please be sure to silence the volume and make sure they are muted. This will prevent any feedback during the meeting. For users who use dial-in feature, you can press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute your phone. For technical assistance using Zoom, please see the Zoom technical support web link emailed to instructions. For questions and concerns, please email cieinfo@floridadoe.org. Thank you for joining us today and welcome. Due to this meeting being in virtual format, we will forego the introduction of visitors. And now moving into the agenda. Today's agenda will be the consideration of licensure issues related to non-degree granting institutions. Item A on the agenda is for institutions ordered to appear back before the Commission. The first institution is SAE Institute of Technology, North Miami Beach, number 2282. Staff recommends accepting the financial report. If you are here from the institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself. And Director Pelton, I'll just wait to hear from you if you see someone from the school or if you don't. Then.
We're assessing our technical status. Just a moment, please.
Sure.
Is there someone from the
Good morning. This is Jake Elson, Chief Operating Officer from SAE Institute Group North America.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Dr. Michelle Ernst, Chief Academic Officer and Compliance Officer for SAE Institute.
Okay. Come on, chat.
Okay. Anyone else?
Okay.
No, just us two.
So what now? I'm on a Zoom meeting.
Jordan.
If he's out there participating, he seems like he's with it.
Okay.
Yeah, what dives does he need to do yet?
We're doing 99-foot scuba today.
Sir, you're
Is it-
not muted, so we can hear your conversation, just so you know. Commissioners, is there any discussion on SAE Institute of Technology? Any discussion, commissioners? Any questions? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to accept staff recommendations?
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Whitaker, second by Taylor Ellis. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept staff recommendation is adopted. Accept the financial progress report. That moves us on to, in section B, applications for provisional license. There are 12. The Art of Skin Institute of Aesthetics, Stewart number 10212 has been removed from the agenda. So there are 11 items in this section. Is there a motion to consider these applications by consent?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Taylor Ellis, second by Williams. All in favor? Aye. No, any opposed? Hearing none, we will now, the motion passes to take this section by consent. I will now ask each commissioner whether there are any items they would like to pull. Commissioner Cross?
Can you come back to me, please?
Yes,
Madam Chair?
sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Marty? Commissioner Stefano? I'm just gonna, if you guys are ready, if not, I'll come back around. Commissioner Taylor Ellis?
No, none.
Commissioner Whitaker?
Number 10.
Okay. Commissioner Williams?
No, ma'am.
Could we add number 11?
Yes, sir.
And I'd like the second number 10 as well.
Okay. And I had 10 and 11 also. Ms. Pelton, does the staff have any?
Not
they'd like to
additional
put-
to those.
Okay. Okay. So do we have a motion to accept staff recommendations for institutions 1 through 9?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Whitaker, second by Taylor Ellis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes for accepting recommendations for schools 1 through 9. The next school that the next institution is Pieberry Institute, Orlando, 11477. Staff recommendations have been provided. If there are if there's anyone here from that institution, please raise your digital hand and unmute yourself.
Good morning, Marion Carberry, President of Peaberry Institute.
Tom Harris, Counsel for Peter Institute, Master Caparilla, Tallahassee, Florida.
Welcome. Commissioners, any discussion?
Yes, so Peabody Institute, have you all seen the staff recommendations to deny application for provisional license?
Yes, I have seen the recommendation.
Can you speak to the advertising without a license?
I sure can. In October, we were notified by the commission that there had been an incident of an advertising. I addressed it within 2 days, responding thoroughly that there was a staff member that took a photo of a mock-up and posted it on her Facebook page, tagging Peaberry Institute. Immediately upon learning about that, we addressed the issue, addressed the staff member, had the staff member take the photo of herself down, and provided fax training to the employee so that they become more aware of how sensitive it is for the school because the school had not yet been opened. Now, I know this staff member had anticipated we would have been on the September meeting, and it was after the September meeting that the staff member had put that photo up in excitement. But of course, to all our, disappointment, we were not on the September or November meeting either. It was a single incident. It was addressed immediately. And as far as I know, it was received by the program specialist. And I had hoped that resolved it.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Does our team have any feedback on the situation? And
Ms. Carberry, nice to speak with you, albeit virtually. Peaberry Institute is on Google as an Orlando location. And that cannot be done without being a Google business owner. There is a news article in Florida Biz Journals. I mean, there is pretty extensive, and Ms. Carberry, I understand that you anticipated the program would be approved, or the new location would be approved, but there is extensive indication out there in the world that this is an open and licensed educational institution, which it is not.
Mrs. Pelton, I cannot control if someone wants to write about me or my school. So yes, that article was written. It was not written by me, as I explained in the letter. It was not paid for by us. It was not initiated by us. Architecture, I had a whole school built out. Okay, there are architects, there are people that are connected in the Orlando area. Someone wrote an article about me. You are trying to tell me you're holding me responsible for that?
No, I'm holding you responsible for your actions taking advertising programs that are and institutions that are not licensed.
I did not advertise any program. I did not advertise the school. This is far different from even the conversation we had.
So there's other concerns in the application process and other. Do any other commissioners have any other line of questioning other than the advertising piece?
Yeah, I'd like to address one part about it if I could.
Pardon?
Sure.
Yeah. Ms. Carberry, this is Bob Harris. I'm going to comment about one other part of in the summary sheet, okay?
Okay.
For example, it said failure to demonstrate that the financial structure of the institution is sound with resources sufficient. Again, if you look at the current assets to current liabilities, the ratio was 2.701. Again, generally that's the standard. Again, I know there's been lots of questions. Certainly yesterday as well as the prior meetings about what is sufficient resources to operate any program, nursing program, or any medical program. But based upon what's in the summary sheet, current assets to current liabilities plus the net equity is all to the positive. So there may be other reasons why, but right now the standard based upon the statute and rules of the commission meets those requirements. The next issue I would raise. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I can help clarify some of that. The financials that I'm looking at are ending 2021 show a loss of operations of $80,000 simultaneously while we're trying to prop up an additional school. So I recognize that ratio that is now trailing by more than 15 months that we're looking at might have looked robust at the time, but you can understand the fixed costs associated with expansions of another school simultaneously while your existing school loses $80,000. I would think that would raise red flags for any business person.
I understand. But I'm just, in other words, based upon the financials that are part of your consideration, yes.
Can you speak to the financials for 2022? Because these are trailing by 14 months now.
Yeah, I'll let Ms. Carberry do that. Ms. Carberry, can you address 2022 financials? How are they doing?
Thank you. We've currently started our audit, but I can tell you that we are very liquid. We do not have a problem with money. The only problem we have is, of course, all the monies that we've poured into this new location to get it fully ready, fully stocked, fully supplied, fully everything since July of 2022. But I shall say this. I do understand the concerns that the commission has. I also recognize that the discussion of the nurse programs have not yet occurred, which was the initial concern by the commission. We have, repeatedly not wanted the campus to be held up because of the nurse programs that are underperforming, the nurse program that is underperforming, and would very much like to open our location with our medical assistant and home health aide programs without the approval of starting the practical nursing or the nursing assistant program. I do not know, whether the commission will accept that. But of course, I'm open to accepting anything at this point, and we'll deal with everything else later.
Can you speak to in your words, the money you've poured into this new location? What have you spent there?
I've spent $200,000 to get this campus ready. $200,000 to get this campus. $200,000. As a matter of fact, it's $200,000 for my build out alone, and then an additional $150,000 for equipment, for furnishing, for supplies, and everything. Yes. Okay, great.
So that's $350,000, and the trailing financials that we show from 2021 show working capital at $323,000. So I think we're making the point here that you poured your liquidity into this second location, at least the liquidity that you turned into the commission then. And it sounds like you've spent more than you had. I mean, I feel like that substantiates the concern of having the capital associated with propping up this program. I'm not saying you don't have it. I'm just saying we don't have it in front of us to verify that, because you just said that you put 350 in it, and the numbers I have show that you only had 323.
And I submitted a budget which shows I had over $1.5 million to support this. So maybe you would like to look at the budget I did submit.
Yeah.
Not for the working capital that's shown on the year ending 2021. So again, I'm looking at year ending 2021. What was your year ending number for 2022?
I do not have that yet because I've begun the audit. What I am saying is there is the form, I believe it's 60, whatever that budget form, the number of that form is to submit in addition to the financial statement. You're looking at the financial statement, I suspect. I am talking about the budget that I submitted, which would have included the amount of liquid capital that I do have in the company.
And we appreciate that. I think the point that Commissioner Williams is trying to get at is a budget is projected numbers, and we're looking at actual financials, which since the issue currently is the standard of the financial standard, the financials submitted show a net loss for 2021. If we get updated financials, will the homestead location still have a net loss? Was there a loss or profit in 2022?
We do not know yet. We are doing our financials and our audits right now, but to my knowledge, we were profitable in addition to having a substantial amount of liquid capital. And when I say substantial, I'm not talking $100,000.
And what is the source of that capital?
Right, that was going to be my question, Director.
The source of that capital is a loan that we had received in 2022.
So there's liquidity, but there's also liabilities on the books.
Of course. That's how, yes.
Ms. Pelton, this is Bob Harris. Let me suggest this if I can. Again, I'm looking at items 2 and 3 primarily. My suggestion would be not to deny the provisional license, but to put contingencies that require demonstration by Ms. Carberry of the financial soundness with some additional documents. As you all know, generally when you have calendar year financials, it generally takes about March to get those financials completed by accountants, sometimes longer. But I think having the provisional license contingent upon providing Ms. Pelton with financials for 2022, showing in fact that both Homestead and the money infused into Orlando make it meet the requirements for the commission.
And that is certainly a course of action that the commission can consider. I'm not sure we've gotten to the heart of the matter, which is that there is also, so because this is a second location, there is a practical nursing program being run at the Homestead location. And fourth quarter scores just came out, and 2022 scores for Pyberry Institute practical nursing program in Homestead are 54.55%. So the concern of staff, and again, I will defer to commissioners at this point, but how do we, if we are already operating a nursing program that is having some level of struggle, how do we receive a reassurance that we will not see the same struggles in a new nursing program?
And I understand that. Let me talk about that. And this is a matter, Ms. Pelton, of consistency. You have, as you reminded commissioners yesterday, placed programs that have issues about the test scores on provisional status. And that's what she's seeking, is to be in provisional status for this location. If you look at those test scores, and I'm looking at them now, for first year for the Homestead was 100% for all 4 quarters. So at the outset of that program, they were at 100%, which is great. But since that time, it has gone down. The third quarter in 2022 was at 100%. And sometimes it depends upon the student. So to me, for consistency, having this program being on provisional status until those scores come up would be appropriate. They could be on provisional status, as you know, for a year or more. And so to be consistent, provisional status for this institution would be what same status for other programs who are in the same situation, regardless of the locations.
But excuse me, wait a minute. So, but I think that you're compounding or you're conflating 2 different things. So consistency, even in your own words, is what we're talking about. So if we can't get consistency and stability in the first location, and that's not even the action that we're talking about today, is the stability in that other location. But it's about how can we in good conscience license another school when there isn't consistency in the initial location. So it isn't the same thing that we were talking about yesterday about scores and consistency and providing the space and time for scores to stabilize after a bad cycle. And this isn't, even to your own words, this isn't a singular episode in the Homestead location of a bad cycle. This is an inconsistency, an inability to stabilize and create a continuum, a trend of upward performance improvement. And so without that being existing in the initial location, I mean, what is going to be, I mean, what's the plan for this Orlando location to have better performance and to have the stability and the consistency for the students? I mean, Bob, you know, we're trying to protect the students and their resources and making sure that we're doing our responsibility to them, to that they're going to enroll in a program that doesn't have a track record of negative success in another location. So you know, and I know we've talked about the advertising, and that's one, you know, that was just one issue. Then there was another issue. We talked about the financial structure. And if it was that financial structure alone that we could say, okay, we could wait until we see 2022 financial performance from the audit that's occurring now at the end of the first quarter. But it's not only that, it's the conversation about the academic performance and the ability for the Orlando location to offer a viable and quality program. And I guess I'm not seeing it here. I guess we talked a little bit, I guess it was mentioned that we would remove the concern that there is, in number 4, failure to provide documentation demonstrating that the nursing assistant and practical nursing programs have been approved by the Board of Nursing. So, or the Florida Nursing. Yeah, so that's one thing we could, so we were saying we would remove those, but then we're still talking about offering medical assisting and home health aid, right? Which, you know, I don't know how anyone feels about any of this, but that's, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we're not, you know, conflating two separate issues that aren't even really the same.
I will let Ms. Carberry address the issue of whether this program can meet the requirements and obtain competence for the programs that we're offering. But again, it seems to me with a contingency that allows her to provide information about the financials, that issue could be resolved upon the judgment of Ms. Pelton, looking at the information that's provided. And if she's offering.
But that's only one issue, right? That's not the only issue. So we need to talk about, so that's, yeah, you made a recommendation that could be one contingency. And so we can take that under advisement, but that's not the only issue, right? So we're talking about more other things. And I'd like to have that discussion about the curriculum and the program itself. And I'm interested in Commissioner Cross and others' thoughts on that.
I think in an example we saw yesterday, and how this is maybe different is they shut down the other program that wasn't performing. You know, so I think that's one action that the school took. Number 2, they invested in a new program director, new curriculum. You know, and so that's the part that I'd be interested in hearing is how is it going to be different? How is this going to, you know, change rather than spreading, you know, inconsistent results to another location. So what's different? That's the part I'm not hearing.
Well, now that the question is asked, I definitely would share what we've done. When we first, at the end of 2021, when we ended at a 60% pass rate, we initiated boot camps. We thought that, okay, maybe it is that we needed to address student testing method. So we initiated a boot camp series midway through the year. We also increased the passage scores for the grade scales, making a B grade a C grade at 84%. I am unsure how many nursing programs have done that. So we increased the rigor of the program. Within the last 3 months, we initiated and now have, we do live boot camps with ATI for our graduates. We have increased the electronic resources, implementing, well, we've always had Elsevier. We always do the Elsevier HESIs, but we realized that we had a level of cheating that was occurring. So we now test students under live camera, and they only now take digital exams. So they have to do it direct on the computer, timed and everything to mimic the NCLEX. We have changed staff. One of the mistakes that we did was hiring master level instructors. And we had a lot of we had almost 95% instructors at the master's level. We've through student evaluations and other evaluations, we've found that the distance between a master level instructor for a PN program was just vastly different. And we have scaled back to now hiring instructors mostly from at the baccalaureate level, to ensure that they are closer to the ground of the LPN. So we've taken we've made some heavy investments. Our ATI, they come to our campus now and conduct the workshops with the students, and of course, giving them the predictor before capstone, after capstone, to see their growth in that area. So we have taken some serious steps in Homestead, and we do believe before the end of the year we will see some results. I must say, and it is noted that when you have a smaller program and you have numbers that are testing small numbers, it does seem, the test scores it is a little, it's not skewed, but it will reflect, seem like a much greater fail rate than if the numbers were bigger. So I get that. And I understand all of your concerns, and, feel, again, I'm not going to belabel this. There are some issues here that you have concern with. I just only wish it was dealt with July of 2022, when I was supposed to be on the agenda, and kicked to September, kicked to November, and now kicked to January, where I've lost more money. I need you to, understand also that not getting on the agenda when I was supposed to have also led to me losing a whole lot more money. If your concern is over $703, which I lost in 2021. That's all I really have to say.
So I'd like to ask Executive Director Pelton to then help us understand why was the application picked from July to September and November, and not? Can you help us understand that? Because I don't have any of the history of that, and there's some accusation seeming that it was on us and not based on the applicant.
And if there has been misunderstanding of that, that is unfortunate. But the overarching quality of this application, frankly, has not been one of the better that staff has seen. Staff has been very engaged with Ms. Carberry to assist in the development and finalization of that application. The advertising concern was the reason, I believe, for the July to September delay, although I will have to double check my notes on that. But the advertising remains a concern, so that was the reason for the 90-day licensure delay for further investigation of advertising in both instances. But I mean, the
declare
institution
that
is seeing.
executive.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Pardon.
No, I was going to say that, you know, the Google Play space requires that you go and actually claim that business. And it is showing up and as a 407 number with an Orlando address. And to the extent that that does constitute operations, you know, that is not someone else that can go and do that. If you own a business, you go and claim your own Google Play page. So, you know, there's already an Orlando number. So I understand why that concern was brought up then and caused that push to the next.
And Chair Coyne also, pardon Commissioner Williams, just for one more piece of context, the application was not submitted until June. So for the assertion to be made that it would even be reasonable to expect it on the July meeting is possibly not accurate.
I would say that I applaud your ambition. I would never fault anyone for trying to gain momentum in their business. And my concern is largely about, the best metaphor I can think of here is to say you may be getting out over your skis a little bit, because it sounds like the investment was equal to or larger than the cash you had on hand, simultaneously with perhaps struggling scores and unprofitable existing business. And an expansion during times like that could really undermine quality and therefore, you know, require some concern of this body to want to protect and ensure the students who may potentially attend in Orlando are receiving quality. So I know you understand that. So you're not being singled out in this regard. I think that there is an element of this that is cause for concern because it's multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Bell, let me suggest the following based on this. Again, I haven't looked at the Google Place advertising and so forth, and I have not talked to my client, so she may object greatly, but about this particular ad based on his comments, but maybe, although it's been delayed for, again, several meetings, but is to perhaps push this to March and have Ms. Carberry come back, be on the agenda in March, not pushed off indefinitely, be on the agenda in March. But anyway, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Chair, I'm open-minded about that, or I'm open-minded about the council's previous suggestion with contingencies. I would like to see profitability in 2022. It's been a long time, and the owner of this institute expressed herself the volume of cash that they bled through, and I think that merits documenting and seeing where the financial status is, either as a contingency or as a push to March. And I would say, not as a commissioner, but as a business owner, if you don't know whether you were profitable in 2022 or not, that's a real problem if you're trying to expand.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have thoughts on, I mean, Commissioner Cross, you asked the question and around what would be different in this program. And I know Ms. Carberry talked about improving some opportunities, increasing the number of students that would not be completing really because you change the grading structure and you make it more complicated, more difficult, or you corrected cheating. So less students will graduate, which will actually further reduce the number of students that can test, right? Mm-hmm. So you're continuing to shrink the pool of testers, to your point, Mrs. Carberry, that it does then when you have a fewer number of testers and a few of them don't pass, it certainly makes your percentages worse. So, Mr.
That's what
Cross.
happened. That's what happened year over year. The number of testers dropped in half. But I know she mentioned that there was improvements made at the end of 2021, but it didn't show in the results. It showed in less testers, and I believe that it would have retention impact, and that's understandable in a nursing program if it's more rigorous. But the results weren't there. The results, declined. So those things that took place at the end of 21 didn't really help. Now, there's new things that she mentioned that I think that could help, but it doesn't bestow a lot of confidence. I would rather see us, maybe defer and look at the financials, and review that. I'm still curious, and I don't know if this is on file or not, is item number 4, failed to provide documentation demonstrating the nursing assistant and PN program have been approved by the Florida Nursing. Is that something that the school can address, or do we have that on file now?
We do not have it on file.
Yeah, Ms. Pelton and Madam Chair, can I ask you something unusual? Can we defer this just for a moment and let you handle item number 11, and let me have a conversation with my client offline?
I'm fine with that. Does anyone object? So, do we need a motion for that, Counselor? Do we just?
No, you can pass this temporarily and move on to 11. Come back to it afterwards.
Sounds great. So, Commissioners, we'd like to pass on Highbury Institute of Orlando number 11477 to take item number 11 and come back to it. Sounds good. Thanks. Sure, Bob. Have at it. Okay. Then next in front of us is Pompano Beach Regional Training Facility, Pompano Beach, number 12507. We have staff recommendations before us. Is there anyone from the institution here? If you would raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. It's Fire Chief
morning.
Chad Bracano. Nice to see everyone. With me is Assistant Chief Donald Desmond.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Edmund Cox, Lisa Castro. Good morning.
And then we have Assistant
Morning.
Chief Matthew Wiggen here as well.
Excellent. I think for us, this is a unique proposal, and we'd like to hear from you. If you can first just kind of give us some background and explain what you're looking to do here so that we can then have a discussion.
Certainly. So from the Bureau of Fire Standards and Training we have right now, where we're already offering continuing education classes. So that's for people who are already certified and they are wishing to advance their profession. They might be learning how to be a better officer. They might be learning how to cut somebody out of a vehicle. From there, we work with the City Commission to make the proposal so that we could do initial firefighter training to be able to, one, be a better presence within our community, and also number 2, to be able to hire some of the individuals that we would actually have trained from the institution, and then also have, try to raise the bar, if you will, for the level of education that we would be providing to those students. So that's kind of the concept. We absolutely want to go into our local high schools and be able to offer the first half of what they call Firefighter 1, the first half of the training. And we are trying to move in that direction, but of course we have to be licensed and open, but not just a matter of being able to train people how to become a firefighter, but also to be able to have high school students, particularly those that are disadvantaged youths, have those individuals be able to have a new pathway within our community.
That's great. Is there an option, and I just don't know this, I'm thinking through it just from my own professional lens. Is there a path for you to do that as dual credit for them, for the high school kids?
So the way it would work would be the high school would treat it like an elective, right? So they would actually be getting credit for, for a class. And then at the end with the Florida, the Bureau of Standards and Training, what they allow is they can graduate from high school with what they call firefighter 1. So they're not a full and complete, we'll say professional firefighter, but they've gotten the elective credit for high school. And then 2, then they can move on to the other half, which we would reserve spaces for them and what we call firefighter 2, the second half of becoming a professional firefighter. So it's a 2-phase requirement. When we take in
accelerate them into it. So when they graduate, they only have the second block to take. So that's awesome. So that's great. It does accelerate them to become a firefighter faster than just graduating from high school and then taking 1 and 2 post high school, right? So that's great.
I have a question. Would those courses be offered throughout a dual enrollment agreement with the high school? Or
it would be an agreement
how does
with the
that
high
work?
school. Yes, it would be within a formal agreement with the high school, with the Broward School Board.
Okay.
Broward or Palm Beach?
Broward.
Oh, Pompano. You're Pompano. Yeah, Broward. Sorry. Interesting.
Basically, the students will be taking CTE courses in high school that will prepare them. And then at the end, they will be taking your courses. And they will they take some kind of industry certification exam?
For Firefighter 1, what is their exam? No, I think
No.
for Firefighter 1, they just have to complete the curriculum.
Correct.
Firefighter 2, if they move on, they would come to our formal academy, and then they would get both a practical and a written exam to become a fully professional firefighter.
And then a state exam following.
And the state exam, yes, sir.
Is it, because it's a state test. Thank you.
Correct.
If I may,
Just
I'd
wanted
like
to
to
introduce
ask
myself, Assistant Chief Steve Hudson. I've been on the line as well. Didn't want to interrupt.
It's our operations chief.
Great. Thank you for being here. I'd like to add just 2 questions here. One, a more global level question. My understanding is that you do not need licensure before this commission. And so I would just like to hear from you what benefits you see in getting licensed through this commission or approval through this commission, and how that fits into your overall plan, strategic planning. And second, related to the pipeline that you have from, or that you would like to have with high schools, can you talk about the later parts of this? So suppose that they get into the firefighter 2 program. You said that spaces would be reserved for them. It's fantastic. Will there be mechanisms to connect them to current openings or needs? So will you, in other words, will you close the loop all the way to employment?
So for the first question, we're seeking licensure, one, as part of connecting to what the Florida Bureau of Fire and Standards and Training are asking us to do, and also for the Department of Veteran Affairs, because we intend to directly work with veterans. We already do to a great extent. We've actually been recognized formally for our work with our veterans. Many of our firefighters here are veterans, and so that's the reason for the seeking the licensure. And then the second portion is, yes, our goal is to be able to have people that are in our community have the opportunity to go to school. So I'll say Pompano, right? So they go to school in, Blanche Ely is probably a better example. Blanche Ely High School, they're a Pompano resident. They go through school, they finish Firefighter 1, they're graduated high school, they come over to us, they come through us, assuming of course they pass everything for Firefighter 2. Our goal is to facilitate hiring those individuals. That's backed by our commission, that's backed by our community. And, just as a puristic sense from a fire chief, what a great concept that we could take somebody that's 16, 17 years old, maybe has an idea of the future of being a firefighter, and then walk them through the entire process. And now you have somebody that lived in this community, went to school in this community, and now works in that community. And that's pretty powerful for us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's an incredible continuum. I'm really excited about that for the community for sure. And that sense of pride and support from that you're growing and building within a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I had a question.
Please.
Are these courses or coursework transferable to other areas, other parts of the state? Could the student take it with them to the future and be used somewhere else if they don't use it with your organization afterwards or this area in this county?
It's a state certified exam. Basically, if they transferred high schools, that high school, the receiving high school would have to recognize their the elective. The program that we have set up is actually we're going to be setting up with is going to be through Blanche Ely, and that high school would be the participating high school. So moving to a different high school, it would have to be acknowledged or recognized within that county for that to be recognized.
Yeah, and then for somebody who had just a regular student, right? Somebody who just came in, and enrolled. If they are firefighter 1, they can take that anywhere in the state to go take firefighter 2. It's provided. We were basically a vehicle from the state to provide that training.
Okay, great, thank you.
So the last question I have around the dual enrollment piece for the high school students at Blanche Ely. How will you cover the cost of instruction because the students aren't paying, right?
Right. Now we're essentially using, our training staff are going to be running that program. We've met with the principal, and that's partly why what Chief Desmond was just explaining, that we're intending to enter into agreement with Broward County School Board. That way, if we wanted to expand the program, we could. In the beginning, primarily looking at Blanche Ely. So we are able to leverage, my training staff here through the fire department, acting, of course, within the academy to be able to teach those classes. So that's kind of the benefit. I owned a school previously. I taught for many, many years in the paramedic arena. And it's a lot easier when you have the backing of the city, because as you can tell by our assets, we don't have to worry about financing. So my fire department budget is $55 million just for the fire department. And I have a separate line item just for training. And the city has been advised that some of those funds will go specifically into the high school program. They're when I tell you they're excited, like we are, I can probably tell, but they're very excited about it. And we just, that community piece is really something you can't even measure. And it's been lacking for a long time. So this was one of the mechanisms we felt that we could get out there and really do a better job of getting people involved. And even if they never come to the program, maybe they finish firefighter 1, never come to firefighter 2, they've started to learn some very valuable lessons out of that. That's good for the community. How to use fire extinguishers, how to do first aid, how to do things that would be valuable for anybody living anywhere. So the city's committed to that directly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you'll seek to, once you do Blanche Ely, then I can imagine you can have a school board articulation agreement, just like the Broward College does and they have, school board has it with FAU and FIU for dual credit. So I think that's really interesting. And I'd love to at some point talk to you about paramedic, because I'd be very interested from a Broward College perspective.
Yeah, I used to teach at Broward College. Yeah.
I just a quick question. Is it going to be, you're going to be starting with only one high school or more than one?
Yes. Just to get started, we want to, of course, refine, our delivery techniques and learn about the school and how it does delivery and how we coordinate schedules. But there is plan to expand greater than that. We kind of want to pin it down. We want to be good at what we do before we move on.
And I'm going to suggest that we have, in Dade County, the city of Hialeah has a very, very comprehensive program with the fire department of Hialeah and the police of Hialeah. That high school program has been in effect for at least 10 years and it's very successful. So if you kind of want to see a model, I suggest that you contact them.
I will.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, we'll take any help.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called City of Hialeah High Education Academy, COHIA.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I didn't mention, I've taught at Miami-Dade College as well. And I taught at Broward College. I taught the paramedic program for several years. I've been blessed. Very, very thankful.
Well, thank you. I think this is an exciting program. Commissioners, any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Marty, second by Stefano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes to accept staff recommendation and grant the provisional license upon contingencies being met. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Now we'll go back to Pyberry Institute. Orlando, number 11477. Ms. Carberry and Mr. Harrison, are you there and available, ready to talk?
It's Harris.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Bob.
That's all right. So my daughter-in-law's name was Harrison, so we had to get past that confusion for a while. Yeah. Yes, we have had a conversation. I'll let Ms. Carberry confirm when I'm done, but here's my suggestion, and I thank you for y'all's patience and thank you for your consideration and your comments and so forth. They're all very well taken. I can promise you that. Because it's important for all schools applying for provisional to hear these things and know these things, the limits under which they need to operate. But in terms of the first thing about advertising, if I would ask Ms. Pelton if she would to get to me and Ms. Carberry if there's any advertisement you're aware of to get those to us. But I can tell you that between now and the March meeting, we would ask it to be deferred to the March meeting. But any advertising, anything out there, Google Place or anything else, and we'll scour those things and make sure everything is taken down, whether to the extent we can control that, we will do that. But we'd ask to be deferred until March. And between now and then, we would provide as much up-to-date information. Not likely to get an audited financial for 2022. It's just generally hard to get accountants to do that between now and March, but we will try. But get you the most up-to-date information about 2022 financials. And then in terms of the nursing programs, having Ms. Carberry will send a formal withdrawal of those programs as applications. And so therefore, the only two programs that would go forward in March for approval would be the medical assistant technician and HHA program. And then again, come back in March and let you all make a judgment call about whether this institution should be granted a provisional license for their Orlando location. That's my suggestion, Ms. Pelton and Madam Chair.
Commissioners, how do you feel about all that?
I feel good about that. I support that.
I do too.
It's agreed.
Reasonable.
I think so too. Council, Richmond, let me ask you, so do they have to waive a 90-day or is that?
We would have to do that.
Right, and I'd agree with Mr. Harris. I think they would have to waive the 90-day provision to accomplish that.
Okay, so we need to hear that declared?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Carberry, will you affirm that, please?
We will waive the 90 days.
Okay, hearing that, we have a modification of, actually, we have a new motion to, a motion to defer the provisional license, I don't even know what to say here. Defer action until the March meeting. Is that correct? And does that satisfy council?
That's perfect.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Taylor Ellis. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The motion to defer the application for provisional license until March with a waiver by Ms. Carberry has passed. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, now we're moving on to application for annual license. Let me get to my notes here. Item C on the agenda is application for annual licensure. We will take the two institutions individually. Adair Technical Institute is Stanford, number 7610. Staff recommendations have been provided. If you are here from the institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute and introduce yourself.
Good morning, can you hear me? Hello,
We can't
can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
There's some background noise. There's some.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, my name is Elizabeth Cruz. I am the president of our Technical Institute in Sanford, Florida. And I'm the only one from the institution today.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Commissioners, any discussion?
If you're speaking on the phone, we're having difficulty understanding or hearing.
Sorry, no, I am at the computer. Can you hear me better?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Good morning. Question in regards to enrollment. In 2020 to 21, student enrollment of 2 students with a retention of 100% and a placement of 100%. That's fantastic. 2022 and current, what is your student enrollment population?
Right now, we have 1 student in the medical assistant program. In 2022, we have 2 HHA students enrolled and graduated. And the medical assistant student that is enrolling our program right now is about to graduate in a couple of months. Her final exam is next week, and she's working with Advent Health for her to start her practicum at the mid-February to end February time frame.
So, and just from my understanding, I know the home health aid program is very short, medical assistant not so much. Am I hearing that you've had 1 or 2 students for the entire year in the school, or how many of you had in the entire year enrolled and active students in the school? Is it still 1 or 2 students?
The last year, yes, we had 3 students throughout the year, 2 in home health aid and 1 in medical assistant.
Okay. And is that enough for you? That seems very small.
Yes,
and what is the plan to increase enrollment from a marketing standpoint?
Totally. We are waiting for the annual license to enroll with a career source. We have been working with career source for the last 2 years. They have been very supportive of our staff and our work, but they cannot support our students until we have annual license. So that's one of the things that we have done to improve. The other thing is that we had enrolled with 3 different financial institutions that are willing now, after being on operation for more than 2 years, to support our students and to lend money to our students to also do the studies. And also we offer trainings and prep courses, and we offer seminars and workshops that's economically and financially how we support the school.
Thank you.
Director, could you help me understand that number 1 on staff recommendation, there's still a certified nursing assistant program being advertised on the website, and I'm assuming that that's the program referenced there, because there's only home health aid and medical assistant showed as the program's offered.
Yes, sorry. The question
There are
is to
several
Ms. Felton.
programs being advertised that are not currently licensed.
I can clarify that the certified nursing assistant program is being advertised as a prep course, which means we do the preparation here and then the student goes somewhere else to take the exam. We do not advertise it as a certification program we have. And we do that with several other courses. like phlebotomy, EKG, because NHA allows the student to take the certification with them. So we do not advertise them as our own course or our own certification. We advertise them as a certification that they can take through either MedCat or NHA.
Director, could you help me understand? I'm not sure that delineation as a prep course precludes them from the need for licensing.
So, Commissioner, to answer your question, I'll need to give a bit of context. By letter of the law, it is required, so any institution which exclusively conducts, for the purposes of today, continuing education, does not have to have those programs licensed by the CIE. That has been interpreted by previous commissions or commissioners to mean that programs that are leading to avocational continuing education, professional development, etc., do not need to be licensed as programs by CIE. We are in the process as staff, and certainly with commission's input, of reassessing whether that is the accurate interpretation of that law. But that has been the pattern in practice in the past. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Williams?
So prep courses don't
prep
fall
courses
within
we have
that.
not touched previously.
Right. That's what I wanted to understand. Okay.
That helped me a lot because I'm looking at the flyer that's in our materials, and it doesn't delineate that. It just purely lists medical assisting diploma, home health aide diploma, and then phlebotomy, EKG tech, medical billing and coding specialist.
And phlebotomy would need to be a licensed program, for example. And you've hit on staff's concern, Chair Coyne, so apologies for the interruption, but the lack of delineation between CIE licensed programs and what are alleged preparatory potentially is problematic.
Yeah, it doesn't state that these are, and then we do prep for your NHA test for phlebotomy, EKG, or medical coding and billing, right? So I think that's for our school director who's on the line. I think that there is some confusion that you're putting out in the marketplace, that's what's causing us to have some have this conversation. The other question I have
with that. I have no problem with that. We can remove those from our advertising. My comment was to Ms. Pelton back in September is, if you go and any of the commissioners or anybody from the street go today into NHA webpage, you can take the NHA certification through NHA and you don't need to go anywhere else, and you can work. Many schools, and if this could be a mistake, like Ms. Pelton was saying before, maybe from the previous CIE commissioners and so on, but many schools, what they do is that they do a prep course through the program that NHA has, and then put the student through the exam. If the student doesn't pass the exam from NHA, they cannot work. They don't have any certification that allows them to work. But I totally understand if the commissioner is reviewing this and the commissioner is against these
preparatory programs need to be delineated very clearly so there is no confusion that they are a training program that leads to a credential.
Sure, that's not a problem. We can do that.
And I'm also interested on your flyers. We have financial aid. So what is your source of aid for students?
We do have affiliation with 3 different associations that allow the student to pay after they finish the program. They can come in, start working on the program, and they could decide if they want to pay some during the program or they can pay after they finish the program. So that allows the student to actually start working. And actually one of the programs, they don't have to pay until they start working, not even finish the program, but until they actually get the job. So far, we don't have any student on that yet. The student had selected, because obviously whatever you do with that, there's interest associated with that. So far, none of our students have been taking advantage of that, but we are offering the possibility of paying after they finish the program.
And what's the cost of the home health aide and medical assistant?
Excuse me, can you say that again?
What the cost for those programs?
The cost for the home health aide is $960, and for a medical assistant is $7,870. $870.
Okay. And I mean, the 960, I get it, but what's the wage of medical assistant when they graduate and start
For
working?
Advent Health, we have an affiliation agreement for Advent Health for 4 counties, and we are very proud of that. And for Advent Health, the starting could be anywhere between $15 to $18 an hour, depending on where they go. For the regular clinics, we have affiliation with 4 local clinics. They could start anywhere between $14 to $15 an hour, and the growth is a lot slower than for bigger companies like Advent Health.
I mean, I'm sorry, for the one that is more expensive, what they would expect to get? What's the
17 to Advent Health is between $15 to $18 an hour. Depends on where they go. Depending if they go to the clinic or the hospital, whatever they are placed. But if they go for a regular clinic, just a local doctor clinics, they could be about $14 to $15 an hour. And in the area, we are the cheapest one by almost 40%.
How long does it take to get the medical assistant?
The medical assistant is 760 hours, and it takes about 9 months. I said about because 7 months is at the school, and the next month and a half and 2 months is with the clinic. And because of the clinic depends on how many hours they are actually allowed to work, because sometimes it's 20 hours, sometimes 30 hours, depending on the needs of the clinic. It could take a month to 2 months to finish that. So it's about nine and a half months.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I may. I see a post on your Facebook page that says you pay when you start working. Can you talk to us about that program?
Yes, the company is LEAF. I don't know if you're familiar with that, LEIF. And then they allow the student to coordinate they have 3 different tiers for the student to go in. Some students do have a part-time job, but that's not enough. Some students want to pay some before, but if they want to defer everything to when they start working, they can. And then they have another 2 years to pay after they start working. It's a very interesting program. I think that other people offer, but we had only agreement with LEAF, LEIF.
Yeah. Any other questions? Discussion? Is there a motion to accept staff recommendation and grant the annual license following upon contingencies being met?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Whitaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept staff recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The
Have
next
a good day.
institution is, thank you, thanks for being here. The next institution is Unity Gain Recording Institute, Fort Myers, number 988. Staff recommendations have been provided. If you are here from the institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute and introduce yourself.
Yes, Anthony Iannucci here from Unity Gain.
Are you the only one with us, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi.
Commissioners, any questions?
No, my question, I guess, to the commission is, being that I have a new license up for consideration to be submitted next week, would it not make sense to look at the financials of 2022 in light of me being from Fort Myers with Hurricane Ian, and prior to that, I think like most all schools, struggled a bit through the pandemic to get back up on my feet to, of course, show positive growth. this year that has been successful, and I just don't think that's reflected by the situation that's occurred the past year. So I was up for licensure in May of 2022. That got deferred, and here we are listening for consideration of that license when in fact next week my application is due for 2023. So to me, it would make sense, of course, to reconsider based upon my financials for this year to see the status of this coming year versus rely on an old financial that reflects the status of years ago. Does that make sense?
I think we need to have a discussion with Director Pelton. Can you talk us through the timeline and the overlapping of what he's referring to as his application for next year?
So to clarify, and it's Mr. Iannucci, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. So at this point, we have received no review or audit from this institution, which is a threshold matter which must be resolved. As to next year's renewal, sir, I think it depends upon the disposition of this matter by the commission to some extent about whether you should or you should not. But please remember that those applications are for meetings a couple of months out. So if I were in your shoes, and this is not legal advice, this is my personal advice, I would go ahead and submit my application with the most current financials I had available.
Well, I am. That's what my intention is. My question to you is what the decision today is for this application. Will this application be superseded by the next one, or is this its own entity? They seem to overlap, and I just want to understand better, for instance, what the intent of the commission is today with this application, and will that be affected by my new application to be submitted next week?
So apparently I misunderstood what the new application is for. Can you tell me again? I apologize.
The new applications for annual licensing, which for the past 35 years, I've been licensed here, and every year on February 1st, I submit for a new annual. And then at the May meeting is when it's considered, and it's been considered every year now for 3 decades. So the previous year, it's been deferred, and now I've been knocked down to provisional. And my question is what today's decision is for the commission based upon the suggestions, what you guys have decided. And let's say, for instance, you decide not to grant me an annual with a contingency to show improvement by, let's say, September. Will my new license now,
your license, you only have a license. A license does not expire or terminate. So you are currently licensed. The commission is considering whether to leave you on provisional or to give you an annual license at this time. The staff recommendation is to leave you on provisional through November of 2023. If that staff recommendation is accepted, and again, I'm talking in lots of hypotheticals here, so I hope we're clear. Should that staff recommendation be adopted by the commission, then your annual licensure would be reconsidered in November, but we would still need to have on file your annual licensure application, the one that you're getting prepared to submit February 1st.
Right.
Okay, so then, in other words, then the May meeting would be postponed contingent on what would happen for September or October for this license. That's what I want to understand the timeline, because I seem to be being pushed ahead constantly.
If
I should say back.
If the staff recommendation is accepted, you would be required to file you would be required to comply with the contingencies. You would be required to file a financial progress report with the commission for the May and September meetings. And at the November meeting, your annual licensure would be reconsidered.
Okay.
And that does require having an application on file.
I understand. Okay.
So commissioners, is there discussion around the staff's recommendations then to have Unity Game Recording Institute move to provisional through November 30, submitting financial progress reports in May and September. And all the other contingencies that we state there.
Chair, are we suggesting that we alter the contingencies?
No, I'm asking if we're ready to, I mean, I think that we cleared up what Mr. Iannucci was asking, and I just want to know if we're satisfied with the staff recommendations and ready to move. Or do you have other questions of him around the financials and how, and maybe I'll just ask it then, sir, how do you feel about being able to improve your financial position in light of all that you described, the hurricane, COVID and the hurricane and all those things? Do you feel that you'll be able to have your financials on a trajectory of improvement for the May report, and then ultimately September, so that we can, because our goal is to keep you progressing and improving.
Sure.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is in fact my reason for raising my hand and wanting to speak. The improvement has been shown. It's just that it was shown in between the actual financial submission last May and today and now. And yeah, just this September, I had 6 students join, and the potential for more students are coming. And yeah, I mean, I've definitely shown positive growth since the last financial, which is the reason why I'm even bringing this up now. Would it not make sense to at least suspend this until we hear the May meeting of my status, put me back on trajectory to where I've been for all these years, instead of this constant, I'm back a few months, Now November, let's say I'm considered, because we see in light what I'm speaking about, only for a few months later to me to reapply. Understand? It seems to be I'm always chasing it.
Yeah, but I think that you're confusing like the actual process is what the process is. Like the reapply is what you have to do every year anyway. I mean, that we're just considering, I mean, it's just a part of the process. It's not because of the financials that you have to reapply. That's a part of the licensure. I mean, that's what's required. But I mean, what we could, and I don't know how any of the commissioners feel about, is it necessary to extend the provisional through November 30? Could we revisit it sooner? And that's the thing that I'm, what we have in front of us is still not showing financial improvement that would warrant, it doesn't show, it's still showing a negative working capital, et cetera. So we can change the timeline to not be November and still do the provisional through June. And that would allow you to reflect financials in March, May, and June.
Yeah, I was hoping to target it to the May meeting, which would normally be the timeline at which I would have between my submission next week and be heard for May. Again, the date isn't as important as what is believed today by the commission as to the status of the school. It's simply incorrect. So however you guys would like to handle that, you'll discover this either sooner or later. So what's the most logical way to move forward? You know what I mean? With respect to what you guys have to do. I understand there are rules and regulations, and I've been abiding by them and have abided by them. So I'm looking to just clarify what's happening here so that we can maybe move forward in a positive direction with the truth. That's all.
Sure.
Well said, Chair. I think that we could, I mean, if the director's okay with May and 2022 financials are in hand and positive, that substantiating that would eliminate some of those contingencies for us. If the director says that there's ability for us to, I mean, do we have to waive the 90-day, et cetera, to get him on in May, get the 2022 financials and eliminate those contingencies?
Are you suggesting, so to clarify, Commissioner Williams, you're requesting deferral of action, or you want to take action today and change the timeline of the proposed contingencies?
The result would be the same, would it not?
No.
Except for you would
Because we're
move from
saying-
annual to provisional.
No. There are contingencies included here that would be required for Mr. Iannucci and his school to stay on provisional.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was
stay
speaking
licensed.
specifically about the trailing nature of his financials, which he feels he can substantiate now as changed trajectory. That was the contingency that I was speaking about specifically.
My recommendation would be to shorten, with reference to kind of the bottom sentence of the recommendation, or second to last sentence, extend the provisional license through June 30th and request that March and May reporting. And I believe that accomplishes the intent of the commission. If it is the intent of the commission to not make a substantive, or to grant an annual license today and then review that at May, that's not what I just proposed, but I'm not sure that's the intent of the commission.
Now, I feel like for me, it was to just shorten the term of the November 30, and I like the June, because then that allows the trailing nature without it being a much longer time.
Yes. So to clarify for Mr.
on
Iannucci, should the commission go this direction, you would have to separately submit your annual licensure application, and you will also have to submit, and I think you already know this, but I just want to make clear for everybody, response to these contingencies.
Yes, I was hoping not to respond to the contingency of having to develop a financial plan when that plan's been executed already. It makes no sense.
Well, we would like it documented and understood by the commission.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, please.
If a financial improvement plan has already been implemented, it should be a simple matter of documenting what was implemented.
Okay, if that's what will help clarify or
I think that's really just providing the documentation of your non-trailing financials. It sounds like you've had a great year last year. It sounds like you had a good start at the beginning of the year. And I think the director's saying if we could just document that trajectory, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, obviously, if you're already rolling.
Yeah, I certainly have enough work ahead of me to do without having to do unnecessary work. So, whatever you guys need. My objective for even speaking today was to clarify my position, and for you guys to take action how you feel, necessary. And of course, I'll be there.
Okay, so do we have a motion to accept staff's recommendation to deny the application for annual license and extend a provisional license with the modification of the recommendation to be through June of 2023 with financial progress reports filed with the commission for March and May 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Taylor Ellis, second by Stefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you for being here, sir. I think it was helpful.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. There are no applications for extension of annual license, section D. We'll move on to item E on the agenda is applications for annual renewal. Please add to your agenda item 38. OIC Workforce Academy, Fort Lauderdale, number 6168. There are 38 institutions in this section. Is there a motion to consider these applications by consent?
So move.
Seconded.
Moved by Commissioner Marty, second by Taylor Ellis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes to take this section by consent. I will now ask each commissioner whether there are any items they would like to pull.
I'll start 2, 26, and 35.
Okay. Commissioner Cross?
I don't think I have anything to add. I need to look at 38.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
give you a minute. I'll keep going. Commissioner Marty?
Item 2 for sure.
Okay. Commissioner Stefano? Commissioner Whitaker?
Can you tell me the ones we pulled one more time?
Sure, 2, 26, and 35.
Oh, 35. Okay, I was going to add 35.
Okay.
I do not have any additional.
Commissioner Williams?
No additional.
No additional for me.
Commissioner Stefano, did I hear from you? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. All the ones that I said were already pulled, so that's perfect.
Okay. Director Pelton? Staff have any recommended?
Staff would recommend, in addition to those already called, number 9.
Okay. And I don't have any other than those as well. So is there a motion to accept staff's recommendation on items 1, 3 through 8, 10 through 25, 27 through 34, 36 through 38?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes on staff's recommendations for those institutions. Now moving to those that have been pulled, we have number 2, Adonis Beauty School, Palm Bay, number 3429. The staff recommendations have been provided. If you are here from the institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself. Director Pelton, can you see if anybody's here from that school? Like, I don't know what you see, so I can't see if you.
And we're working on it. I'll be a little more proactive and letting you know our status.
Okay, thanks.
There is no one here from the institution.
There's no one there from the institution?
There is no one here from the institution.
Okay, commissioners, discussion?
I think that they're not there and they failure to comply. And I think we should follow the staff recommendation.
Any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, do we have a motion to accept staff's recommendation?
I move.
The applicant failed to meet the conditions of the May 9, 2022 order.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. First was, I'm sorry, who was the first? I wasn't
Marty.
looking.
Commissioner Marty.
Thank you,
and second
Commissioner
was
Marty, and
Stefano.
second by Commissioner Cross. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept staff's recommendation on school number 2, Adonis Beauty School, Palm Bay, number 3429 is passed. Next is number 9. Let me go to that. Center for Professional Training and Development, Inc., North Miami, number 1827. You have before you staff's recommendation. If we have anyone here from the school, please raise your digital hand and unmute and introduce yourself.
The institution is present.
Excellent, thank you. Welcome.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Bertha Chavis Leverett. I'm operations manager for the Center for Professional Training and Development.
Welcome. Director Pelton, do you have anything that you want to share with us around this item?
I want to be delicate in light of the institution's privacy. I do not want to air dirty laundry. I will say that staff has received some late news that gives us serious concern based on Standard 11, which is advertising and publications, Standard 3, which is administrative organization, and Standard 5, which is recruitment and admissions, as well as compliance with fair consumer practices. Staff would like to amend their recommendation to recommend a 90-day licensure delay for further investigation into those items.
Object. We corrected whatever the order said, we corrected it. The order said that we sent a postcard in that had 2 locations. We did have 2 locations at one time. And it was a lot of cards, maybe 5,000 cards, postcards printed. So since that time, we have deleted that 2 locations on the card for advertisement, Standard 11.
But the cards with having 2 locations on it the 5,000 cards were mailed out?
No, they were, at one time when we had 2 locations, evidently it was a few cards left over. They have been destroyed and deleted. So we don't have on the card, on the postcards, we don't have 2 locations anymore. It's just 1 location.
Does the institution have any relationship with Mr. Charles Etienne?
I don't know of them.
Okay. How about Erlene Lockhart?
Don't know of her. Tony, are you online? Hello? Tony?
We're looking on our end. We're admitting him now.
Mm-hmm. I think that was somebody that was trying to do some fraudulent activities with the school. And I thought we had cleared that up.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, hi, I'm Anthony Francois, the school director.
Director Pelton, would you like to ask the question of the school director?
Mr. Francois, how much do you charge students and what do you provide them for how much work they do?
We charge them for the home, we do the home health, the patient care, the dialysis.
Right, and is that online or in person?
No, it's in person.
Okay, and what days and times do students attend classes at your location?
We have courses from Monday to Saturday.
Okay, and how many hours are those programs?
Well, the dialysis is 600 hours. The home health is 75 hours. The patient care is 600 hours.
So every single student you have attends.
Sorry, can you repeat the hours?
The dialysis is 600 hours. The patient care is 600 hours. The home health is 75 hours.
So how many students do you currently have?
Right now, for the home health, we have 4 students currently. For the patient care, make sure.
16.
How many in the home health?
Home health. Right now, we have four students for home health.
So you have 20 students. So at your location, every single day, Monday through Saturday, from what time to what time?
No.
There are 20 students on site. Is that true?
No. The home health. Currently we have four students for the home health right now.
Right. 4 plus 16 for the dialysis program is 20 students.
Oh, okay, right there. For the home health aid class, we have 4 students currently. For the patient care, we have 14 students. And for the health, we have 6 students right now.
Okay, so 34 students. So every day on your campus, from morning until the afternoon, Monday through Saturday, you have 34 students attending classes all day long.
No. For the dialysis, for dialysis, we have the 600-hour course. We have it on Friday and Saturdays for dialysis all day. For the patient care, same thing. We have day and night classes. For the home health, we have currently 4 students, which is day students.
So how do you keep track of all those students?
No, but they're not here every day. They're here on certain times.
How do you keep track of them and when they're supposed to be there?
Oh,
And how...
we have a attendance sheet. They have
a roster.
Excuse me?
A roster?
Yes, they have a attendance sheet.
So they attend every single class.
Most of the time, yes.
Mr. Francois, have you had any contact with law enforcement regarding your institution?
Excuse me?
Have you had any contact with law enforcement regarding your institution?
No, my dear, no.
Good morning. This is Jim Richmond. I wanted to interject at this point. Florida statutes and specifically 1005.31 sub 6 specifically permits the imposition of a 90-day licensure delay to complete an investigation as to whether an applicant meets licensure standards. In this circumstance, no waiver or consent is necessary from the applicant, and actually the executive director or the commission can issue these licensure delays. And that's to prevent really this type of investigatory activity occurring at a meeting, so that essentially it can occur between meetings. And at this point, I think the executive director is recommending a 90-day licensure delay. But if you'd like to impose that, we can, and we'd defer the reasoning for that to a written delay following this meeting.
With the commission's indulgence, I am going to impose that 90-day licensure delay. And Mr. Francois and Ms. Leverett, a letter will be forthcoming to you with the communication of that 90-day licensure delay and the basis for that investigation.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
So we're going to delay the action on your item for renewal for annual application for 90 days, and you'll get a letter from the executive director stating why, and then the pursuant investigation that will take place.
We already received a letter for a 90-day stay.
We're imposing an additional 90-day stay for additional investigation.
So you saying this is an additional letter to the 90-day stay?
A letter will be forthcoming. This is an additional 90-day delay for the investigation.
What kind of investigation is this?
I really want to defer to the school's privacy and reputation. I don't think the best time to have this discussion is in a public forum.
Well, can we set up a meeting?
I'd be happy to. Please reach out to me and we will get a meeting on the books.
And your name is Meredith?
My name is Meredith Pelton. I'm the executive director.
Okay, so you took Mr. Sam Ferguson's place?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I could never fill Sam's shoes, but yes, I am the new executive director.
Okay, Mr. Meredith. It's just a lot of things that we don't understand, and we are people of education. And so when things happen, I just got a lot of common sense. I got some education too, but I just don't understand where we're going. We haven't did anything wrong. I mean, we've had people come aboard trying to do stuff wrong with us, and we just, just kicked them to the side. We're not participating in selling no diplomas. We're not participating in doing any wrongdoing.
Then you should have nothing to be concerned about
Then
during
you
the
should have no
investigation.
concern and we'll
That's
clear
right. And so
everything
we
up.
just need to clear things up, make sure, and we'll be back on track. Just trust the process. It's going to be okay.
All right, trust the process. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next school is number 26. Flipping, excuse me. Mercy Hospital School of Practical Nursing, a program of Plantation General Hospital, Miami, number 3445. You have staff recommendations. If there's anyone here from the school, please raise your digital hand, unmute and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Hernandez. I'm the director of the School of Practical Nursing, and there are two other colleagues that will be joining us. They will introduce themselves.
Yes, good morning and hello again. This is Robert Westfall. I'm in this case, the assistant director for Mercy Hospital School of Practical Nursing 3445. And may I, on the side note, may I pay you the compliment, Madam Executive Director. I've known Sam for quite a while. I've attended these meetings and you are filling his shoes quite nicely. And so are the rest of the commission. It's very nice to see all of you. And I just want to say thank you very much for the job that you do ahead of time. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Aileen Hidalgo. I'm the program chair for Mercy Hospital School of Practical Nursing.
Okay, welcome and thank you for being here. Commissioners, do we have any discussion?
Hello. Yes, I do. This is Commissioner Taylor Ellis, and I pulled your application. Will you share, first off, how many students, active students you have in your population right now?
Sure. So right now in this enroll, we had a class that graduated in December and we're starting another class in February. But right now enrolled, we have 27 students.
Thank you.
Sure.
And will you give us some updates on your pass rate? I see from the reports in 2021, it was a 51% pass rate. Q1 2022, 55. Q2 2022, 60% pass rate. Still low. What is your plan to improve and rework the curriculum to ensure that the pass rates are meeting expectations standard?
Absolutely. So thank you for this opportunity. We have been looking at our passage rates since 2020, working very hard to try to improve. And if you see consistently in 2022, each quarter, we have been improving, mainly from the activities that we've included in our program so the students are successful. We've always been committed to not only graduate a student that's safe, but also someone who is comparable and able to pass the boards and able to help the community. So most of our activities have been around incorporating the ATI products, which are the resources we utilize to assist students in mainly testing and being able to test well. We've also changed a little bit our acceptance in terms of utilizing the TEAS test, which we had not used before. It was another entrance exam, and we found that I think 88% of nursing schools in the United States use the TEAS and have been successful. So we decided to change it to reflect better, to get an applicant that was not so much that was better, but certainly would understand the requirement for and the rigor of the program. And then, of course, you didn't mention quarter 3 and quarter 4, but in quarter 3 of 2022, our passage rate increased to 71.43. And then we just received our passage rate 2 days ago for quarter 4, and it was 77.78. So we're trending in the right way. Our goal has always been, that I remember since I've been here, this is the first time that we've had a drop in passage rate. So of course we've worked very hard with not only our faculty, but our administration and ensuring that we are able to remediate students so that they're able to be successful, not only in the program, but certainly in the overall passage rate for the NCLEX exam so that they can serve the community that they live in. Robert or Eileen, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Do students test under a Board of Nursing number for the school or a Board of Nursing number related to the hospital?
So we have a license number for I don't know if that's the correct name, but we have a NCLEX code for the Board of Nursing for LPN. And I can give you that number. It's US 7010600. So that's our NCLEX code for the PN program. Do you want me to repeat that? I'm sorry.
I think I've got 701060000.
7010630. That's correct. And US
Okay.
in front of that. That's correct.
Okay. I have a Mercy College School of
Nursing.
Practical Nursing that is apparently a separate institution. So apologies. Thank you for the help.
No. And I can explain that if you're interested, Ms. Pelton. It's just we made a request. That was the commissioner prior to that had suggested or asked what we were doing for the curriculum. So we have put in a submission to place the PN program under the college with some minor changes. But when we went in front of, we have also submitted that request to the Department of Education, Commission on Independent Education. But because our passage rate had not shown to be at the national average, they asked us to wait. So there, we have no students enrolled in that PN program under the college, and we do not have a license number according to the DOE CIE. I think I said that accurately.
I think you did too. Just to put it on your radar, and we can certainly arrange for a meeting. It does appear that you had testers under that Mercy Hospital College of Nursing number in Q4 of last year.
Okay, so that could have easily, that's interesting. Are you sure that's not the RN program, Ms. Pelton? I'm just asking. And I'm sorry if I'm making a mistake.
No, you're okay. It's PN. And it was
Okay,
only one person. So my purpose in asking is I'm watching for fraud, right? I don't want people using your number fraudulently.
No, we understand.
No. And I believe, I have a hard time. I mean, the only thing I could think of is, although one of the things we've also done, we actually did this also in the college, is that we review the application process with the students prior to graduation. And we stress the importance of placing the correct code when they apply. But some, between grad, and I'm not making excuses, I think sometimes instead of calling us, they just look at the website, they click on or Google Mercy Hospital, and that number comes up. But it's certainly something on our end we can certainly reinforce with our student population.
Great, thank you.
No, thank you.
So my question is then around completers and then testers. How are you really mapping your students to complete and then ultimately to test? Because it looks like your numbers for testing is continue to go down.
So we've had a recent drop in our LPN to LPN program, mainly, and I'm not really sure where we've always been a very small school who really our marketing has always been word of mouth, and we're in a hospital. So many of our students have come from not necessarily hospital employees, but family members and so on. But I'm sure you know our Florida area, there is something like 48 nursing schools located within a 20-mile radius within us. So we have a big competition. So we're certainly we're doing a lot more high school visits. We set up in the cafeteria to talk to any employee who's interested. We're kind of owned by a corporation by the name of HCA that has 3 local hospitals. So we've been doing information sessions as much as we can to try to increase our student population. I think the reason why it looks like we don't have as many testers as we've had in the past is that, and I don't want to make the excuse of the pandemic, but we had so many students didn't sign up for the licensing exam, and I'm not sure why. So we still, if you look at the way the quarters, we have students still testing in 2021 and 2022 that graduated in 2020. So even though that there's a stipulation in the Board of Nursing that states that they should really take the exam within a 6-month period, it's difficult. They pay on their own and they try to motivate. But again, we've changed our whole way in our last week of school where we go step by step to do the application process, where the 3 administrators plus faculty, anyone, if the students have difficulty, we are more than welcome to sit with them to apply for the licensing exam. Because again, we always stress that students do better on the licensing exam when they sign up within a 6-month period after graduation.
Absolutely. I think if one of our nursing schools could crack the code on how to get students incentivized to take it,
yeah, I know.
You'd have a real gold mine there. So certainly finding a way to incentivize your students, and maybe HCA can incentivize them to take it within 6 months, because it certainly is a true indicator of improvement on pass
Absolutely.
rates.
And I do want to add, just recently, our governing organization, especially since the pandemic, has kind of changed our case mix. So they're hiring more of our LPNs than they ever have. So I believe, and they're actually hiring them as kind of externs, which means once they've completed a little bit of the nursing curriculum, usually it's the first semester, which is the equivalence to a nursing assistant. They're hired in ancillary positions like dietary or patient escort or as a unit secretary, which is really assisted. The students are very motivated, so because they're already working and they like where they work. So it's really, I believe, this last year has helped in trying to get them to take the license exam within that 6-month period.
Great. Well, it definitely seems like your rates are improving, right? So that's good. That's good news. So any other discussion, commissioners? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to accept staff's recommendation to grant the annual license with the appropriate contingencies being met.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Marty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept staff recommendation is adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful weekend.
You too. Next is, I gotta make sure, number 35. And then following number 35, we'll take a short recess or a recess too. And then reconvene. Number 35 is Tuesday Health Institute, Miramar, number 3339. You have staff's recommendation. And if there's anyone here from the school, please raise your digital hand and unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
No one from the institution is here yet.
Okay. Commissioners, any discussion?
Nothing.
The staff recommendation is to grant the annual license, but to deny the new diploma program.
We have two concerns.
Okay.
First, there is only about $70,000 of working capital on hand, and there is no equipment for the practical nursing program that has already been purchased. So that is that's not doable on $70,000. Secondly, this institution is advertising this PN program, which is not licensed.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Commissioners? Motion?
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Cross, second by Commissioner Stefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept staff's recommendation passes. Okay, so I'll take the will of the group. Do you guys want to take a short break, a longer break, or what would you prefer?
A short break.
It was short.
Yes.
So I'm good with short too, because I will have a hard stop, and I'd love to be finished. Or Commissioner Williams, you'll be subbing in.
Sorry, you're not allowed to leave, Chair.
Okay, so how long is short? 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10's good.
Sounds great.
10 work? Okay, see you in 10. Thank y'all.
We are live.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're going to move on through the agenda. The next item is license by means of accreditation, and there are two applications in section F. First one is Neurodiagnostic Technology Institute, Orlando, number 5340. Staff recommendations have been provided. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
There's no one here from the institution.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to accept staff's recommendations to grant the license by means of accreditation through December 31, 2024 with the contingencies as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Motion is approved. The next institution is QM Career Institute, West Palm Beach, number 3811. If we have the staff recommendations before us, if there's anyone here from that institution and they'd like to raise their hand, please raise your hand and introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. This is Natalia with QM Career Institute, and I am here with Consuelo.
Yeah, I'm Consuelo Valladares, QM Career Institute School Director and President.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. Commissioners, any discussion?
My only question was, I see a current enrollment, but this is probably trailing information from 258. I was obviously a 2021 number that I'm looking at there. And then when I see the breadth of programs and the cost associated with them, I just didn't see in the financials where that revenue had been captured. I guess there must be a large percentage of those students that are still enrolled after a number of months and or years who haven't completed the program. Is that how that number got so large?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay. Do you know what your current enrollment is now? I know what we have here is a year old.
Of course. So currently right now, we do have across all the programs in the morning and in the evening schedule, it is 73.
So that means you graduated out 170 or so this year?
No, we have 73
currently enrolled.
Yeah.
Right. I was just saying in 2021, your enrollment was 258. So it sounds like you graduated 173 people or 170 some odd people this year.
Yes, more.
Yeah, that's like more or less.
Well, good for you. That's a lot of folks to have completed in that time. We look forward to seeing those placements when we get updated data. That was my only question, Chair.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Martin.
That's okay. Do you, to the institution I'm asking, do you know how many you really graduated? And how many just dropped off the program?
Well, of course, in the latest period that we have, the graduation, let me get you the exact amount right now, is 273.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to accept the staff's recommendations to grant the license by means of accreditation through December 31, 2026 with annual review submitted. It's moved by Commissioner Whitaker.
Second.
Second by Stefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next section is annual review of license by annual review of license by means of accreditation. There are 14. I will take a motion to consider these applications by consent.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Taylor Ellis, second by Commissioner Cross. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, would take the motion to take this section by consent passes. I will now ask each commissioner whether there are any items they would like to pull. Commissioner Cross, you're up first. Alphabetically, you're first.
I have none.
Okay. Commissioner Marty.
Number 4.
Okay. Commissioner Stefano.
None.
Commissioner Taylor Ellis.
No, thank you.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Williams. Commissioner Williams.
No, ma'am.
I have none. Ms. Pelton. Does the staff have any that they'd like to pull?
None. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Marty, are you still thinking, or are you good with your number 4?
Number 4 is all. Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
I just have questions.
Okay, is there a motion to accept staff's recommendations on items 1 through 3, 5 through 14?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Commissioner Marty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved to accept the staff's recommendation on those items. Now we will hear from Boca Beauty Academy, Parkland, number 5458. We have the staff's recommendations. If you are here from that school, if you would kindly raise your digital hand and introduce yourselves.
The institution is present.
Hello, this is David Colazzi from Boca Beauty Academy.
Hello, sir. Thank you for being here. Commissioner Marty, do you have questions?
I think I confused the number because I have a different number of the one I was denying. What page is this one on, please?
This is on page 26.
Okay.
I'm on the physical copy, if that's what you're
I'm on the physical copy too. So we're talking about Boca Beauty?
Yes.
I withdrew no, it could go back to approval. I'm sorry, I got mixed up with the number 4. Okay? Sorry.
No worries. So any other questions, commissioners, or discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to accept staff recommendation to accept the annual review for Boca Beauty Academy.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Whitaker, second by Taylor Ellis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Thank you, sir, for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Marty, does that satisfy, or do you have any other?
Totally satisfied. I was actually looking at H4 instead of the other one.
Okay, you're on
my error.
Different section. Okay, very well then. We'll move on to section H, which is where I think you were. So, application for program approvals and modifications. We have 6 applications in this section H. Is there a motion to consider these applications by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved by Commissioner Cross, second by Taylor Ellis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept by consent passes. Now ask each of you for items that you would like to pull. Commissioner Marty. I'll start with you.
Number 4, please.
Got it. Commissioner Cross?
None other than that one. Thank you.
Commissioner Stefano?
None additional.
Commissioner Taylor Ellis?
No additional, thank you.
Whitaker? I hate to call people by their last name. but
It's
I
same,
couldn't.
just number 4.
Williams, you're easy. That's an easy one.
Yeah, I want to discuss number 1 briefly.
Okay, 1 and 4 so far. Any others? I have no others. Director Pelton?
None others.
Okay, I would accept a motion to pass. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Is there a motion to accept staff's recommendations on items 2, 3, 5, and 6?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Marty, second by Stefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes to accept those schools, those as outlined. And now we will go to number 1, Career Training Institute, Brandon, number 6049. We have the staff's recommendations in front of us. If you are here from that school, please raise your digital hand and introduce yourself.
No one's here from the institution.
Okay.
So we can make this easy. They probably likely wouldn't have been able to respond to this either. I just wanted to illustrate in this that the financials that are turned in on number 1 is really representative of a theme across a lot of schools' financials. This is a compilation. It's not a review. And reviews are expensive, and I know why people don't want to do them, but for those of us who do them, actually it seems that it should be more uniformly applied, that compilations not stand instead of that. And I wanted to point out this is just a compilation of financial statements, and this school is obviously been around a little while, and they should have a review like the rest of us.
And staff would wholeheartedly agree, so that is my oversight, so my apologies. So I would recommend the addition of a contingency to submit a review or audit in compliance with the rule.
That's fair.
Is it review or audit, or review and audit?
Either.
It's or.
Okay, or, okay. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, we accept staff's recommendation with the added contingency for the school to submit a review or audit, financial review or audit, according to rule. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Commissioner Whitaker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Number 4, we'll move on to school number 4, Rockledge Institute School of Health and Beauty, Rockledge, number 5039. We have staff recommendations in front of us. Is there anyone here from the school? Please raise your digital hand and introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning. This is Tracy Mitchell, and Gregory Mitchell is here with me as well.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Commissioners, is there a discussion?
Yeah, I would like to know why the institution did not comply with the order for the aesthetic program. What is the reason not to follow through on that?
Commissioner Marty, may I give some color? Would that be okay with the commissioners?
Yes.
So
Yes, please.
the commission, most recent commission action was to request an explanation of how this new additional program, in addition to the already existing programs, can be offered within a very small space, 800 square feet. The commission office did receive a response from the school staff does not find that it contains the requested information or an adequate explanation. That letter that was provided by the institution is in your materials for your review. I'm also happy
Yeah.
to read it if the commissioners would like. So it is not failure to respond. It is that we do not find it to be an answer that answers the question.
So what the staff is recommended is that we put aside that aesthetic program for now because of lack of sufficient information for us to think that it could be successful.
Well, additionally, multiple staff have visited the site and have concern about how the existing programs are already adequately existing students are adequately supported in the existing programs. So to add an additional program, that's based on on-site visits. To add an additional program gives us just that extra level of concern.
Can I ask how many, to the person from, how many students and how many hours they go there?
So I'm sorry, my name is Greg, and thank you for calling us. In that previous one, it kind of sort of lowered our anxiety knowing that we were going to get called. So thank you, Commissioner Marty, we appreciate it. So right now, currently, we have 8 students enrolled in the restricted barber program, 3 students enrolled in the barber styling program, 1 enrolled in the cosmetology program, and 1 enrolled in the pharmacy technician program.
13 students?
Okay, so additionally, I'm sorry, because you asked about the hours as well. Additionally, we propose scheduling for our students because all of these courses are online hybrid courses. So we propose a schedule to showcase the hours that each program would actually offer time within that spacing. So these different programs wouldn't interact with each other. So at each given schedule, and it should be somewhere.
It's in the summary sheet. That was part of what we submitted was the daily schedule, so that they wouldn't overlap. Like I think the new program, it does show that the aesthetics program was from. Well, I don't see your summary sheet. The aesthetics program, we were proposing that they come from 12 to 4, and the pharmacy technician program comes from 9 to 12. So there's like a minute overlap at that time. So those students may meet each other in the parking lot or as they're exiting, one is entering. But we did space those out so that they won't overlap based on class schedule.
And their class space, their labs, it's the same space, it's the same equipment,
So
it's the same.
Right, the classrooms are the same. The pharmacy technician program, of course, does not use the equipment that the restricted barber styling, or cosmetology program would use. They're basically on site to get face-to-face instruction from myself. And as he stated, we only have the 1 student at this time that is coming, but she's currently on her externship. So she comes in to the externship site only at this time. But in the future, if we did accept someone else in, they would not come at the same time as the students for the aesthetics program. The setup for the location is similar to that of a barbershop or salon. It's not, so we do have the open floor space where they can get the practical hands-on component of the courses. And then when it's time to do the textbook work, some of it is online, but when we do our theory, they sit in the seats and we have tables that we break out for them to use as desks, not necessarily using and so the equipment basically is the same equipment for a barber, a stylist, a cosmetologist. However, cosmetology and aesthetics, they would use some of the same things, which I think in the picture that we sent, which I think staff was confused by that. I saw on the floor plan that we had previously submitted, someone made some annotations on that to say that pharmacy technician and aesthetics would be using the same room, but we didn't make those annotations. So I think it was because the picture showed a desk back there, and it also shows like a table that an esthetician would use, but not table, but the chair that an esthetician would use, but that's also used for cosmetologists if they're gonna do facials or those type services. So that's why that's back there, but it's not, it wasn't just a separate area for esthetician and pharmacy technician. We wouldn't have made that annotation on the floor plan for pharmacy technician. They would be in the open area with a desk at the time that they're coming in. And the back has the computer for staff for us to review or have privacy when we're doing administrative type things. That's what that desk is for, and our file cabinets and things of that nature are back there in that area.
Director, was the schedule that they proposed in hand prior to the determination that the adequate space wasn't available, or was it afterward? Because I was looking at the schedule, and if indeed that is the case and you're breaking people up throughout the day, I'm open-minded about that being possible. I'm just wondering if you guys had it in hand whenever you looked at the space and understood that it would be allocated into different sections of the day.
Yes, we did understand that.
How many students are you expecting for esthetician?
To be really honest, because we can't advertise it, but we get a ton of calls for that, to be honest. And that's where this whole thing came from, is that people don't necessarily want to do full cosmetology. Everybody wants to do makeup or lashes or something else that's a small component of cosmetology. So we really haven't been enrolling many students in cosmetology, but to be really honest, I don't think we should have more than 4 to 5 per class session at this time because of the size of the space. So we wouldn't like exaggerate and have 20 people in there.
And how does this body define conducive to good instruction and learning that supports educational programs?
I'm sorry, you're asking the school? Oh.
No,
yeah, I was asking the director. Yep.
Okay.
There is not a definition. That is something that we can look at to formalize a definition, but I believe that it is currently that it is at the discretion of the commissioners.
I haven't been on site, Chair, but I don't mind the schedule. I understand how people are trying to maximize the real estate space and break it up throughout the day. There is perhaps a contingency that would require an update if that schedule is deviated from, because it would require additional space. And I would agree that it would require additional space, but I would consider a contingency saying that it works if that schedule is followed. I don't want to overcomplicate things here.
And the number of students, and the number of students
Yeah.
that can be seated. Like you can't, like you have to realize that I know that you said you wouldn't take 20, or you don't expect to take 20, but we'd have to say, you cannot take more than,
That's understood. May I speak? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Of course, go ahead.
Oh, please.
Okay. So the how do I explain? So my concern is we've come before the commission before about the size, at least twice, and I know Ms. Felton mentioned it too about the on-site inspection. Like this has been an ongoing concern for the commission, and the size was the reason that we decreased in size was during COVID. So what we did was we did also reach out to our landlord, and he's aware that we did need additional space, which was also communicated to the commission, but that's also an additional expense on behalf of the school. So he does have another location that he was willing to allow us to lease. He honestly wants us to purchase, and he holds the mortgage for us to buy the building. But at this point, with us trying to get things squared away and having submitted the requests for the modification and also some other outstanding applications that we have kind of with the board, we were just really trying to minimize the amount of money that we spent. So the option is there to increase the size if required, but we just, at this point, with the number of students that we have, we would really like the opportunity to to continue at the rate that it is, and commit to not overstepping with the number of students and then increasing. He is willing to allow us to take the suite next door, or if not, we do have another business that we own and operate, and that landlord has a space as well that we're currently speaking to, which is right around the corner, about moving it. So we would submit a request to change the location at that time too, once we at least build the program or figure out how many students we probably may need to accommodate.
Well, I realize there's a chicken and the egg factor here with space required or program that requires space, right? Which one comes first? So I'd like to ask Mr. Richmond if there's a recommendation where we might fashion some sort of limitation or agree on how those programs are going to be broken up during the day. Obviously, it's not going to happen on this call, but what would be the recommendation for a motion that would allow these guys to move forward and us to include a contingency that we're not planning to put 24 people in 800 square feet?
What you can do, this is Jim Richmond, you can generally describe the parameters or describe them with, I guess, the level of specificity you can here, and delegate to the executive director the authority to kind of review and if satisfied that it meets the parameters that you've set forth, to license it as appropriate at that point.
Sounds good to me.
I'm okay with that. Yes,
yes, Commissioner Marty?
The commission, Commissioner Williams.
That in the site visits, when they have been visited, they have found it that even for the students they have, it's not enough space. So I'm not too sure. Maybe accept the recommendation now, or maybe once they have more space, they could come back and get that program. I'm not too comfortable with adding more people to a very small space.
This is Tracy again. May I please say something again?
Sure. Yep.
It was never communicated to us that on the on-site visits that it was still not sufficient to meet a standard. Like, we were allowed to continue. That on-site visit that we're referring to was back when we initially submitted the change of location application, and that was, and to our knowledge, accepted, and we've been there operating in that space. So we haven't been told that the space was not, the staff had a problem with the space. To be 100% transparent, the only person that continued to address the space and put that on the last agenda was our previous program specialist, who's no longer with us, but she put that on the last meeting that we came to. That was a contingency then, and then we never heard anything else from her to say, I don't believe that this is adequate, or that we still have a question about your concern. The only communication we got was this denial to come to this meeting. We haven't been told that it wasn't suffice for even the current programs.
Commissioners, as point of reference, the person who performed the on-site visit is Joey Smith, the operations manager, or whatever your title is.
Correct. Yes, that is. I can confirm that as well. And it was an impromptu site visit from him because we were in conversation with our program specialist, and she reached out to Stephanie Hood to say, I feel like the school needs a visit, and he happened to be in the area. So he said, well, I'm here today, I'm going to come by. So he came by, we spoke to him, and we moved forward. And that was with the change of location, not for this addition. And it wasn't like, don't do it, like you need to get the space now or get something bigger.
And I was personally there. We did the walkthrough together, and it was never brought to our attention that the space that we're in was not suffice.
And actually, I don't know if he's here or on the call, but we were at that time also concerned because we had submitted some modifications for online delivery that seemed to never get through, and he asked us to go ahead and submit those to us as well. He understood our vision and why the place was set up that way is what we took it as. So maybe it was misunderstanding from verbal face to face, but it wasn't something that was sent to us as we have a problem with this.
Ms. Mitchell, does your fire inspection limit your occupancy?
I don't think they put a specific amount of a number on there, but I'm pretty sure. Of course,
You know what
they
I mean?
wouldn't say-
Usually the fire inspector will come through and say it can't be more than X number
we
of
have.
people. Right.
I should have that. I can pull up. We can see what if they annotated anything. I don't think they put a specific number though.
Right. Well, in the interest of this body not having a definition for an environment that is conducive to learning and we do require the fire inspection. I have a feeling there's probably a number on that fire inspection that says you can't have more than X number of people in there. Mr. Richmond, would you suggest that we defer to that external authority and figure out a way to briefly table this so that we can look at that fire inspection and come up with a more objective limit for these folks?
That would certainly be an option. There should be occupant loads based on square footage, exits, and everything else that the fire marshals would enforce.
That should already be on file, I would think. We should have that.
Yeah, there is the fire inspection. I'm trying to find it too. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but sadly, those fire inspections sometimes just say that you passed or failed, and they don't give you the occupancy load, but they'll put up a sign in your facility that says the occupancy load. You've seen these in restaurants and bars and whatnot.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we're not going to solve it today, but I hear that you guys have had multiple issues before the board trying to both relocate and simultaneously navigate COVID and add a program. And no one wants you to prevent you from getting people trained and gainfully employed. I'm just trying to come up with an objective way to look at that number to say, if the fire chief says we can have 11 people in there, then we can have 11 people in there, right?
And not to have to continue to have the discussion because
right. Yep.
And I also appreciate that you're trying to respond to market demand. If you have more people that are interested in makeup and lashes, and so, but you're space constrained by, and your enrollment will be constrained by your space. So it appears to us like you're adding a program and you're trying to grow, but it might be that you're just redefining your program mix. And so with only one student in cosmetology and adding an esthetician, if you, again, stay within the limits within your square footage requirements by fire inspection, you may also consider that cosmetology, I'm not suggesting that you do this, but I'm wondering, have you considered that you would close cosmetology or not offer cosmetology going forward if you add esthetician?
Okay, so, and that's a great question. But up under cosmetology, say you go get your cosmetology license, you can perform esthetician work up under a cosmetology license. So basically when estheticians go and get their license, it's just a specialty license. So when we're offering this course, it falls within cosmetology. It's just a specialty license within cosmetology. So in essence, it's just we're pulling out a piece of that cosmetology course and offering it at a separate time, pretty much on the same day as cosmetology, but just at a separate time. So cosmetology.
Yeah, so you're providing those services already. It's just a subset of the broader industry.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's more reason why we should look at the occupancy load, because they're already providing the services anyway. They're just being able to certify this, not necessarily as a new program, but a division of an existing program.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, because individuals now, they just want to go in and say, okay, what's the quickest program to get me out, get me licensed so I can get in the industry and make money. The cosmetology industry, they want 1,200 hours for that. That's a hard sell versus going in for the esthetician.
Agreed.
You're looking at 360 hours.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
But to answer her question, because I don't know if you really did, but we have considered that as well. And we have limited the number of cosmetology students that we've accepted as well, honestly, because of the size of the space and what's required to do some of the services like doing the manicures, pedicures, et cetera, things of that nature. We have limited it for that. We do still have barber stylists, which they still do those same services that cosmetologists do, except they don't touch the feet or the hands, or there's just they're all like still those same service related industries that perform the same services. So I can definitely reach out to the city of Rockledge and ask, because we did pull up that fire inspection and it just said no violations. They didn't put the occupancy load on that inspection.
I don't know. This idea keeps the ball rolling.
Okay, so to summarize, I think the commission is indicating a desire to grant the approval contingent upon submission of fire load occupancy or Commissioner Williams, I need some help with this wording, please. Thank you.
I would say that we can get an occupancy load and a class schedule showing that none of the overlapping programs exceed that load.
And I would suggest to the commission that not as a contingency for approval, but simply on top of the contingent approval, that the commission direct an on-site visit to occur within the next 6. Do you anticipate to the school? Do you anticipate enrolling students within the next 6 months?
Do we anticipate enrolling students?
Yes, sir.
For this program, for the esthetician
In the
program?
esthetician.
Yes, if approved, yes, we would anticipate enrolling within the next 6 months.
So I would also recommend the commission direct, again, not a contingent, but an on-site visit within 6 months.
Agreed. Yep. If I do the on-site visit myself, can I get my toes done?
We got you.
Is it assumed, Director, that when we do that, or do we need to state this? It'd be nice to get a student enrollment progress count at that time as well, because that's really what the end of it is.
It is.
You know, if you
Part
have
of
a
the-
higher demand. Pardon?
No, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I mean, I think what they're doing, if you have a higher demand program, you want to fill it up with that, but they're not licensed for that yet, and they want to probably reduce it. But the end game is, you know, finding out what the occupancy holds. And I think when we do our progress report in 6 months for on-site, we should look at the student enrollment just to see where it's at.
That is part of the on-site visit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we need a motion to grant approval of the esthetician program with occupancy load and class schedules outlined by the fire inspection standards. Well, with occupancy load outlined by fire inspection
not to exceed.
Yeah, not to exceed fire inspection standards. And a class schedule that supports that occupancy load, a class schedule and enrollment that complies with.
Okay, I have something to say about this.
Okay.
Because having been a high school principal, middle school principal, normally what the fire department give you is a total thing that may include visitors, etc. The one thing is the maximum occupancy, like you could have in a cafeteria for an event, and the other thing is the real place where the students could demand classes, because you need more space for a student station that you need for some visitors. It's just like if you go to a hotel and you ask and you want to just chairs facing the front, they're going to give you an occupancy. But if you want tables where people could sit and work, you have less people. So I'm almost sure that they're not going to exceed the fire occupancy, because that's maximum number of people in the place. It's not the space that our own people from the commission will know is necessary to have a barber seat or all the equipment and the space, because eventually these people are going to have a client that goes in. Normally, most beauty schools got customers that could go do their hair there, etc. So I think that the fire occupancy is definitely going to be higher than the reality of what you need to teach. And I can tell you, because for years, my fire occupancy was not what the district would allow or what the accreditors would allow in a space.
I agree with you that there is an education standard for occupancy, for space needed, certain square footage needed per student. And if you see the pictures, I mean, they do have their chairs for the cosmetology and so they have them already in the space. I do think that it is about management.
My
But that's the
concern is
only thing we
adding.
have to go on right now. The state of the Department of Education has occupancy education standards for physical space required, but we haven't adopted those as a body, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that what we're talking about is they're not providing an additional service. The service is already being provided. We're giving them the ability to license that subset of a service that is already being provided. So we're not bringing in an entire newly group of people. We're bringing in the same number of people for a fewer number of hours. And the fire code backs out the square footage that is required by tables, et cetera, and then is also code dependent for your zoning. So I just, because this is not a new program that we're trying to bring in dozens of people for, and we're only carving out a subset of the existing, I personally feel like we can add this contingent for the load and a schedule not to exceed and not stand in the way of folks getting trained and employed.
We do the same in degree programs, offer an AA to get them something along the way, or a diploma even. It's that certificate. So it sounds like it's embedded in the program already.
Yep.
So what we're saying is that it will be attracting people, but that we already may have a cap and we're not exceeding the cap of the programs they have.
Yeah, they're just getting them out of there faster than they normally were because this program is a fewer number of hours.
Higher turnover.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Commissioner Stefano, do you want to make an amendment, a recommendation? I mean, a motion, forgive me.
Yeah. Let's try this and see if this would satisfy what everyone is trying to articulate. Be a motion to accept staff recommendation contingent upon the demonstration that total
Wait,
occupancy.
I'm sorry, we have to start over because the staff's recommendation is to deny. We're not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
accepting staff's
I'm sorry.
recommendation.
That's right. So
go ahead. So we would make a motion to approve and then read.
Okay, a motion to approve contingent upon the demonstration that total occupancy at any given point in time, as proposed in the institution's proposed scheduling, inclusive of all staff, students, and any other persons such as visitors or customers, does not exceed the thresholds determined by the fire department.
Yeah.
Well said.
So that's the motion by Commissioner Stefano. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cross. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
We would also like to direct staff to do the on-site visit with 6 months to include the enrollment analysis. Super. Thank you all for being here and talking us through that. We're hoping
No problem. Thank you guys for listening and taking our account into the records to help us through this process.
Absolutely. Okay, that concludes that section. We're moving, there are two motions then for extension of license in section I. We'll consider these, is there a motion to consider these by consent?
So moved.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor, moved by Commissioner Cross, second by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes to take this section by consent. Does anyone have any that they would like to pull at this time? Hearing none, the motion, where am I? Hearing none, the motion passes to, if there, is there a motion to accept staff's recommendations on items 1 and 2?
So move.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Taylor Ellis. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, the motion is approved. Section J, we have no motions for request of extension of time to comply with contingency, so we'll move on to substantive change approval. Item K on agenda is substantive change approval. There are 5 institutions in this section. Is there a motion to consider these applications by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Stefano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion to take this section by consent passes. We'll now ask each commissioner if there's any items they'd like to pull. Commissioner Cross?
None.
Commissioner Marty?
No.
Commissioner Stefano?
None.
Oh, I skipped. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No.
None.
Commissioner Taylor Ellis?
None.
Commissioner Whitaker?
None.
Commissioner Williams?
No, ma'am.
And I have none. Ms. Pelton, do the staff have any that they'd like to pull?
None. Thank you.
Is there a motion then to accept staff's recommendations on items 1 through 5?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stefano, second by Commissioner Marty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes and staff recommendations are accepted for those institutions. There are no branch campus affiliations in section L. There are no applications for name change in section M. There are no agent training program applications in section N. There is a motion. Is there a motion to accept the reports for sections 12 through 15 for program terminations by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
By Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Stefano. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion to accept these reports, did I say, is adopted. That's a report.
Chair, point of information, you just accepted sections 12 through 15. So,
Oh, okay, sections 12 through 15, forgive me, okay. That. Okay,
so I believe that the section you're on is comments of commission members.
okay, thank you. At this time, we will take comments from the commissioners. Do any commissioner members have any comments to share?
I'd like to say that I appreciate the work that the director and her staff are doing. And I think there's a tremendous amount of momentum, positive momentum. And I know I speak for everyone on this board and perhaps a lot of folks who are licensed by this board to say that it is fantastic to have an engaged group of well-intended, well-informed, and diligent, bodies in Tallahassee looking after all of us. And it's been a pleasure these past few months. I think positive change is occurring and will continue to occur.
I agree. I actually think that, we're asking good questions. We're getting to, I feel positive too about, the direction of the commission and certainly CIE, that we're really trying to make sure that we're looking out for the well-being of our students. And I appreciate all of your attention and thoughtfulness around the agendas and the schools and really, I hope that the schools hear that we're really trying to work on your behalf, also making sure that our students and they're protected.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, it feels like there are consistent themes running throughout that are making their ways, threading their way into school operators and directors and owners to understand it's important to know your own business and to understand that this body is here to protect students and their interests. And very proud to sit on this today. It's been a really good. I was apprehensive, I got to say, about how the virtual was going to go, but very proud that it went the way it did.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. The virtual trickier, but worked, and the interaction between all of us and with the schools, even though we couldn't see them, good, healthy dialogue. So,
and none of you can tell that I'm in flip-flops. So there you
go. We expect that.
Let me add to the comments an applause for the director and all the staff for the work that they're doing. And in particular, I'm excited about the work groups. I love the fact that based on the descriptions that the director provided yesterday, they're trying to hold in tension, on the one hand, greater accountability and transparency in terms of their current processes and identifying ways to optimize that. And on the other, a aspirational dimension where they're thinking about how this can be improved and where we want to be in the future. And holding those two things in tension is a sign of good leadership. There's oftentimes, the temptation to run off the visionary end or to be overly operational and to lose a sense of vision. And to hold those things in tension, to be able to drive effective change and to really lead a whole culture and team to lasting change is really challenging. And so I just want to applaud that effort, and I really look forward to the fruits of those efforts.
That's a really good point. So Director Pelton, will then there be kind of some report out or sharing that you can do in your executive director reports that would be able to keep us apprised of how those work groups are doing?
I will absolutely keep you up to date on the work groups going forward.
That's great. Any other comments? Anyone want to share anything? Well, thank you all for, go ahead. Director Pelton, were you?
I had nothing additional. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Are we still with the public?
Yes. Always.
I just want to real quick thank you all and the staff. You guys are phenomenal. It's a big job, and I know you have a lot of vacancies in your office, and I'm just very impressed by your team and your leadership, Meredith. So thank you for everything you're doing, and just please let us know how we can support you guys between meetings, and I look forward to continue working with everyone.
I want to add that it had made our job a lot easier because I totally trust the recommendations of the staff. If we had to do this without their insight, it'd be a very difficult thing for new people. So yes, I agree with what everybody says. I also have to say that I love Susan Hood and how she responds to everything so fast. So I wanted to give her a thumb up because she's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout outs to Susan Hood.
Thank you very much to everyone.
I'm going to give a shout out to Brandon as well. Brandon helps all of us with our technical challenges and is patient and works within our schedule when we're struggling to get everything set up and get this work done before the commission meetings. Brandon, you've done an amazing job for that, so thank you.
And commissioners,
And
I'd like to share with you too, we pulled in a program specialist who has technical talent, excellent technical talent. So I'd like to also appreciate Victor Sori as well.
Well, Victor, we look forward to meeting you.
We'll be calling you.
Now that we know. And Joey too. You guys are great. You're doing the hard work, and Risa, you as well. So thank you.
Yeah, the level of responsiveness is, we just feel so supported, and you almost feel like you're by yourself. You get that much support. You reach out to anyone on staff, Director Pelton, and you forget it's a large team that they're leading and supporting. So it's a good feeling, and I also want to extend just what a great job, Madam Chair, you've done. Just in the short one we've had together. In person, it's tough, but virtual, I mean, absolutely amazing how you organize it all. So just thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I think that we're ready to adjourn. Unless there's any other comments, I would take a motion to adjourn. Thank you all for joining us. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 30 and 31 in Orlando. I look forward to seeing everyone there. I think I'll have a new grandbaby by then, so fingers crossed. Another. With no further business to come for the commission, we are adjourned.
Thank you,
Madam Chair.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.